So, Andy, thank you so much for being here. Mary Kate.
Great. Thanks, everybody. It's great to be standing in way of margaritas on Cinco de Mayo. So no worries, we will make up all the lost time today, because I will not punish you with a full hour and a half of looking at software. Nor we'll limit the amount of live stuff we want to look at too, because if we do like live software, I might as well ask everyone to grab some tin foil and start chewing on it. About how much fun that is. So yes, I am Andy, and this is Mary Kate. I've been with the company about 10 years, about as long as when Anna first signed up there. Mary Kate's been with us for about 4 years now.
But I've been with Mirabelle for 10.
But she's been with Magazine Manager for 10 years because she was a client on the other side. Mary Kate in former life was a controller at Carolina Parenting Magazine. They had about, at one point, maybe close to 70 employees there. And she was one of those great, that was a great client to have because she was always so agreeable about everything. Not really. But it was good. It was that kind of client that pushes you and makes you better, and Mary Kate's a CPA, so I think that kind of comes with the territory. But now they were bought, and long story short, she's with us and with our team and with you guys. So a quick count, looking at the tree back there of all the franchises, bless you, the Natural Awakenings, it looks like we've got around 60% of the folks on board. And kind of like any relationship, I think after 10 years, it's time to go on a 10-year honeymoon again and kind of reinvigorate things. It's one way of looking at it. The other way is it's time for an intervention. So we've been doing a lot of great things, and basically what I want to do today is make sure for those of you using the system, you're going to see the screens and stuff that are new, a fresh new interface, and some basic functionality. Just like any software, it's a very good chance that folks are not using a fraction of what they should be. So we really want to focus on kind of the fundamentals. There's a lot more stuff that we can dive into, but the things that I know people should be doing. We've been working a lot more with a sales training guru in the media industry, Ryan Dorn. I know some of you have been to, maybe not in this room, I know some Natural Awakenings franchise publishers have been to the niche media conferences. I've run across you there, and so you probably know Ryan. So we sponsor his monthly webinars about ad sales training, and he's just great. He actually does ad sales training, so it's good to hear from somebody who's doing it, not just usually it's those who those who can't teach. He actually is one of the people that can do, and he teaches. So a little bit about us. There we go. Probably did it. Good. We got our start as a publisher. We've got skin in the game. We're based down in Fort Lauderdale. I happen to live up in Michigan, outside Detroit. So I'm just latitudinally challenged. I like the cold weather. It's just nice. Actually, I've got kids in school and stuff, so chose to stay up there. Maybe in college I'll wise up and move down to this nicer weather. But we've got about 6 or 7 city regional titles still going on. Gold Coast Magazine is the flagship. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary. So we've got a lot of publishing expertise under our roof. The whole media group is upstairs from us, and to me they're just a wonderful guinea pig for us to try new things out on. It's pretty good. So just to give you a background of where we came from. We have grown quite a bit in 10 years. 10 years ago we probably had 50 or 60 clients. Now we've got 15,000 plus media properties. That covers just over 1,000 actual publishers, so you can get the idea of the scale and scope. And it is an even distribution of folks that have one title and 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, all the way up to 200-300 employees. So as any cloud-based solution should be, it's very scalable and structured that way. And for those of you who are not completely familiar with what we do, these are really the 3 main elements. People think of us first and foremost as the CRM, but we really are much more. This is what separates us from a traditional or a standard CRM, which focuses on it's a modern day version of a Rolodex, if you will. Too many millennials in here, they're like, Rolodex, what's that? But really tying in the add order entry piece into it and the billing, and that integrates directly through a software connection, so no human touches with getting all that information into your QuickBooks company file. And that's the part that Mary Kate, I'll talk about it a little bit, but I want to let you see it, like how fast your billing could be. It should go, from hours or days possibly to literally, seconds, if not a couple minutes, to process a month's billing, because information sitting in your database, enter it once and let it flow through your production tracking and all the way through invoicing. We virtually try to make it impossible to make a mistake. When you enter information at the point of proposal, and that's the last time you enter the information, it sits in one row, in a table, in a database, and everything points to that, whether it's a manifest or a run sheet that tells you what ads are done or not done, or a list of what ads need to be invoiced or have been invoiced, so on and so forth. It's just one piece of data. It doesn't exist on multiple Excel sheets or Google Docs or a piece of paper or notepad or sticky note. It's in one place. So that's kind of the long and short of what we're all about. Get the hang of this. So this is the login to Magazine Manager. So it's easier to give an overview with slides rather than live software. Back to my tinfoil analogy there. But as you can see, I've got a little clicker here. For those of you that are on Magazine Manager, you're like, I've never seen this. Because this is brand new. It's on your backup site, so you can access it. It's pretty significant changes, so we're not forcing anybody to move over just yet. We'll give people probably 6 to 9 months before we say, okay, it's time to move over. But very simple. We're trying to make it very directive initially to the sales effort. The front end of the business, or really for anybody, is logging in, and who do you have to follow up with? Who do you have to call? What's on your schedule for this day? So the calendar is all synced with Google Calendar, so you can have your iPhone, your iPad, your Outlook, whatever your device is everywhere that you use, have all your calendar information synced. So all your meetings there. You've got some quick links into places that you probably frequent, whether it's checking on the status of the production items, if your ads are done or not, and of course what calls, so you can dive in. These little graphics, we got one initially, I've seen a couple other ones that they're rolling out with sales and so forth, so it's really up to you as to how you want to look at the software when you jump into it. Mobile version of the software, this has been around for quite some time. I find a lot of people are still not aware that this exists. So it's very easy it's just simply, for those existing clients, you just, instead of .com on the URL of your site, you type in .mobi. So it's really a device agnostic a way to access, kind of like Magazine Manager Lite, you could think of it. We use our own software, of course. So I'm always, on the go, like here. I'm looking up folks. I see a name. I'm like, I look at my database, and I can do it on my phone. So, it's becoming more and more mobile. We've got a lot of clients whose entire sales teams they're totally tablet-based. So whether it's Android or iPads, they're out there in the force, getting signatures on the spot on contracts, generating things like that as well. By the way, if you have any questions, please, yes?
It's more of a comment. The mobile site, you can't search. You have to know the name of the client.
Oh, you just need to use a wildcard search. You need like you know how you use like a % sign? Or I mean an asterisk sign?
Okay.
In ours, it's a % sign. So if you type by a %, it'll look like a wildcard. So, if the word...
Okay, so when you're typing it in at the end?
No, in the beginning. In the beginning.
Good
So,
to know. I had no idea.
right. So if you have like...
Very limiting when you don't know that.
Big tip. And that's true in the software in general, not just the mobile site.
Okay.
But if you are searching for stuff by wildcard...
Okay.
Yeah, and something else that's new in the software here too is the quick search has been replaced. So if you just start typing in, the name, it starts to match, and the priority is, it looks at who's looking. If you're logged in, it's going to first show people. If you start typing in the word north, everything with North in it is going to start to show up first. Contacts that are assigned to you, and so forth. So it's really just a lot more, just a cleaner, more fluid, tablet conducive. It's all HTML, responsive design, ready. So it's a lot easier to navigate. Yes?
So you plug it into the web browser then. There's not an app currently, or is there?
No, not that. We found that it's a little, it covers more bases, basically, by not being an individual app. So I think we are coming out. We have an app that they're playing with and doing, so there probably will be one, because people want more and more functionality. That, and we're getting into a whole marketing automation tool set that you can tie into like MailChimp and stuff, start tracking leads and people visiting your website. It's got a whole other set of metrics and analytics to it, and that's going to be tied in. So I know that they're working on some app, but I'm not exactly sure where that's in a development now. So, good. Great questions. We've got dashboards here as well. A lot of folks like to log in and take a quick snapshot of what's going on in their business. So if you're setting goals, taking a graphical look of how your year's revenues or contract spending. A lot of folks focus on just what the sales are per issue per month, but also a good measure, at least another measure is the contract business that you bring in a month. That kind of gives you a sense of the projected. Are you bringing in 1 month contracts, or you're bringing in 6 month contracts? And you'll see fluctuations, and it can kind of give some indications there. And you can arrange this kind of stuff as you like as well. Okay, so let's really take a look here at some of the basics. This is like blocking and tackling to make sure that people are utilizing the database effectively. I mean, all I've pulled up here very simply is a list of contacts. I could have searched, and I'll get into the search in a second, but this could have been pulled up by whatever callbacks were scheduled for today. It could be a list of everyone that's in a certain healthcare vertical that you're putting together a callback list or an email blast to, and so forth. It really doesn't matter, but this would be a long list of those folks that you're following up with. Very quickly and visually, you can see some are red, some are black. Here's one that's green. Green is good. We want more green. Green means they've got a contract in place. Okay, so they're a live, active client with actual contract. Again, that's where, as a CRM, we really differentiate from just a standalone CRM in that we've got all the contractual data in here. Okay, all of your accounting, all your contracts, and so forth. The red folks are people. They're the worst ones, or they're also opportunity. They're people that have expired. They've advertised in the past, and it's a great source. A lot of our clients have great success in leveraging the information of who's expired. It's a tremendous opportunity to resell somebody that advertised with you 1, 2, 3 years ago. And hopefully, also, you'll see I'll show you some tools here in a minute to identify those instances before they become expired. That's really the key, is to get them before that point. Okay. Some other things here. In this view, what we've done in this newer screen of searching is the option to go into what we call split screen. So as you're going through clients, instead of having to toggle into a contact record and back out and go to the next one and back out, is you just click on it, and it's kind of like a snapshot of the client record. You've got all of their notes, whether emails have been sent or maybe proposals, invoices, whatever notes have been left in the system. And keep in mind, what's nice is you don't always have to be typing something in to leave history. The system likes to leave notes behind when you do things, like send them an invoice, send them a proposal, send them an email, which is another feature that I find a lot of people aren't aware of. It's been out for probably a little over a year now, is to be able to actually take the content of an email that you send. So whether you're on your iPhone or Outlook or Gmail portal, wherever, that email can post as a note in the database. So like right now, I don't have time, or if I'm in the airport, when I send it, I click on it, I add a BCC, there's like a coded BCC email that goes into it, which sends the email to the database. Database matches the records, oh, boom, and post the note. And you get a lot of history in that way. So, question?
Are there any plans to integrate that opportunity while you're in the contact, as opposed to having to open up, let's say, your Gmail, find that email that has the code, and put it in the BCC?
Great question. Yeah, there's like a little trick to doing it. Is very simply add. So the way it works, the mechanics of it, is that when you log in, like you have an ID to the database, right? It sees you, and you have your own unique email. It's just like a string of numbers and letters and so forth. Save it in your address book as, call it BCC, call it Magazine Manager, call it. I have mine set up as 1.bcc because it comes up at the top of my list. So when I go to send an email, I literally have to, I just click 1, an address pops up in your email when you're sending an email, it sees it, and it's in your, because initially I was like, what would be the best way to do it? And of course, I Googled it, and someone said, oh, put it as 1BCC, like first name 1, last name BCC, and throw it in your address book. You can also, if you want to get kind of fancy with it, like in your Outlook or something, and even on your iPhone, you can do things to set up automatic forwarding, or automatically BCC somebody. But I kind of don't really recommend that a lot because it's like overkill. I turned it on once to have every incoming email forward to the BCC address, so it would go to the database, and it's just excessive. Every single email you get does not need to go into into here. You just want relevant emails. So some good stuff there. And on the other side, you can toggle and hide the different menus, but you can see if you have a group here, you can check people off, you can add them to a group. Maybe you're creating a group for a special email blast promotion. Maybe it's a start of summer promotion or a holiday promotion or something, and you could add them to that group. Or you could send a blast email. There is some blast emailing capability directly in the system. We integrate with MailChimp, Campaigner. If you're looking for an email service program to do more marketing and blast emailing to advertisers or whomever, I'd recommend taking a look at MailChimp because it's free up to so many thousand email addresses, and it's super cheap. It's definitely the best value on the market out there. Just as a side note. So when you do need to move beyond just, I'm sorry, go ahead, question.
I bought an existing magazine that did not have Magazine Manager, and one of my hesitations in going in this direction is that I have a huge customer database that's in Excel, then I have a QuickBooks file. How easy is it to integrate all of that into the system?
Do it all day long. That's good. The fact that it's already in Excel makes it even easier.
Yeah, but it's in all kinds of states of updated and not updated. And
yeah, the housekeeping part of it, we can't necessarily help. We'll give you some tips as to, we've got some pretty strong Excel jockeys on the staff that will kind of guide you into maybe some paths to dedupe your information. There's probably duplicate records in there. There's probably conflicting things like that. But the fact that it's already in Excel you're probably like 95% of the way there. Because that's exactly what we need to import it into the database.
can you import it from QuickBooks? Because that's more up to date than the Excel is.
Yeah, it's interesting that the actual the API, the mechanics of that, the way it works is that it can actually update it. That could be your import, which is great because then you might just want to clean it up. If you've got, the only thing is in QuickBooks you probably don't have people that you've never sold anything to, a lot of times. So there's going to be a lot of records that aren't in there. But that's the easiest way to do it. When we set up the QuickBooks interface, it automatically populates a database with all your QuickBooks information, and now they're tied together to be synced forever after. Well, one more back there first.
Can you import with Google Docs as well, using Google Spreadsheet, or is it just Excel?
Yeah, no, it's a CSV file. It's just that either way. I mean, you would download the Google Sheet probably into Excel or a CSV. Doesn't matter. It's absolutely the same thing.
Would it work with QuickBooks Online?
Yes, yeah, that's what you're going to see an example actually live with QuickBooks.
For example, we're using the contacts, importing contacts, and then later the publisher might choose to want to use the distribution module. But when we go to that spreadsheet, we've already had the same. We have some light records, and I didn't have a way to eliminate dupes before we did the import. We had to eliminate them sort of outside the system. Is in the new
Yeah, actually, it's coming. There's a really robust tool kind of coming out in the next phase of this. I'm not sure if it's this month or in a few months, but a whole merging and deduping tool, which a lot of our clients, like yourselves, are in the life cycle point where, and ourselves too. I mean, the cobbler kids have no shoes kind of problem that we mess up our database and make it look ugly just like anybody can. We do things like buy lists of 30,000 people and jam them into the database, and then wonder why we have a hard time finding things. So, anyways, well, back to diving in a little bit more now. This is the new look of the contact record. We tried to really make it like a 360-degree view, as I have it labeled up there. So if you need to go and get more information than just a couple of notes, make a phone call and schedule another follow-up phone call, you really need to know more. I mean, there's everything from the picture to social media feeds, which automatically go out and search. Based on the email address that's in the record, it goes out and checks and see if there's a match. More times than not, since it's their business emails, it tends to match the LinkedIn right away, which is it's always nice before you make a phone call if you don't know the people that well, just to get that little piece of personal information. That fine line between interesting and stalkering. Gotta be careful there. Watch that one. But in general here, you see they're all collapsible entities here. These used to be different tabs that take you to another window, and now they just, like an accordion, go up and down. So if you need to look at whatever details, and you can completely customize this with whatever fields you want in here. We try to keep the number of default fields very limited out of the gate. And as you can see, you can expand the notes here and so forth and read. Just another kind of segueing into the next main part of the software is looking at proposals and contracts. But to go in and identify, here's an existing proposal out here. Change the name from contract to order. It just seemed to be a more industry standard name. There's an example of how an advertising contract could work. I wasn't quite ready to go there. The main difference between the term proposal and contract is the proposal is just a contract that has yet to be approved in the system. So maybe estimate is a term that you might use, a quote. It's just not approved yet. So it's kind of like your pipeline. It's that potential business out there, which can also be brought up in reports. When you kind of have a deadline coming up, say you're up against the July issue deadline right now, you might want to go pull up all of your proposals, and you can attach simple probability to them, and if you've got 1 or 2 days to close them out, let's go after the 90%ers in the next 48 hours to see if we can't pick some of that low-hanging fruit off of there. As far as creating a proposal, here's another shortcut for those of you already using the system. Is don't go in and create a brand new proposal every time that you want to create one. Just grab one that you've done recently and copy it. And you click on the copy button, you start typing in the name of the next client, it auto-populates, you're like, boom, done, email. Okay? So an example of that would be going in and, I could grab a proposal, it could be this proposal. Come on. And a simple example of a handful of issues here. A lot of our clients across the publishing spectrum are putting together multimedia proposals. So they're including, if you're sponsorship for your expo, maybe some digital advertising on your website, and of course whatever the print buy is, combine it all together. You can hide the individual amounts and just make it one lump sum total and so forth. Most importantly, the thing is email these out, is to push them out and get them out there. In my opinion, these should be your action items. Your proposals should be your pipeline of activity. And this is the only time you enter the data in the system. Yes?
I just had a quick clarifying question. This top says proposals and contracts, but the document is labeled and advertised as a contract. So does that mean your proposal document is the contract, or are they two separate documents, one with like marketing information, the other with an actual contract?
Yeah, they're one and the same. It's just it hasn't been approved yet. When it goes into the order or the contract state, that just means that somebody, like literally whoever has authority, in this group would be all of you, have gone in and converted it to a contract. So the document itself is just it's a document that you're sending to somebody. But once it gets approved in the system, now it's going to show up in a production run sheet for that issue to make sure ad material is collected, the ad's done. It's now available to be invoiced. Up until that point, it's just hanging there. You know, it's like waiting to be approved, waiting to become a real live billable contract. It's just in that proposal state.
Status.
Yes.
Same document status changes from proposal to order once you get approval.
Exactly. Yes.
How customizable is that contract? I mean, could we have it say agreement?
Wide open. It's an HTML writer, so it's like working in Word. So you don't have to use that terminology or the graphics. I mean, I just like slapped the graphic up there, like literally in like 5 seconds to put it up there. So whatever you want to say, not say, whatever fonts you want to use, like yeah, have at it. Yes.
So is it a macro that builds the contract then, or what actually? How do you build the contract?
It's just an HTML writer. So I mean, that's the technical term. It's like Word in internet form. So all the documents, whether it's an email template that you want to build, or an invoice template, or a contract template, it's just kind of the word processor on the web, the internet.
So there aren't templates actually sitting there waiting for us to plug them in?
Of course there are. We've got templates in there. You make it easy. We don't give you. It's not like opening up Word where it's a blank page. We've got a bunch of templates there to get you started. It's a lot easier that way, and then you can go in and change the fonts and whatnot. Good questions. Yes.
So I guess I'm just not sure what the benefit of using that, because I just send out, you know, a natural likings contract, and then I have to enter it in anyway to Magazine Manager. Do you understand what like? What is the benefit of using your contract as opposed to what I
Just
send
like
out?
sending it out on a PDF or a Word document.
Right.
Because the data is now in the system, for one. Like, you actually can start tracking. It would be as if, like, you know, literally, if you created a Word document, right, and you put down, you know, all your contract information on there and sent it to somebody, that's great. Like, they've got the same information, right? But that information isn't, like, connected to your database. It's not connected to, you know, it's not a click away from saying, okay, this is a live job. Boom. When you go to approve it, it's like, it's one click, and then it just makes it live. Now it's in your invoicing queue, it's in your production queue. You don't have to rekey anything. You know, the time and the errors associated with that, you know, is probably first and foremost.
So you also, if you didn't close the sale, you would have that in your pipeline. So you would have all the information there of what you proposed, and you could follow up the next month. It would already be in your CRM.
Yeah,
That's why you want to start there.
It's a good point too. It shows you what you didn't sell, and it gives you the very, you know, the specifics of it that you can actually pull into reporting.
I like that.
Yes.
Can you integrate, we use the editorial part of it for like which month certain advertisers get news briefs?
Mm-hmm.
If you put that in the proposal of the contract, would that show up in the editorial report?
Not in the editorial side. What I see more people do is they create either like a rate card that doesn't have any pricing to it, so that they can track their editorial and their advertising all in the same bucket. You know, this is where you get into that whole church and state divide, and you know, so that sometimes that, you know, you say that to some editorial folks, and they're like, you can't have it together. So that's why it's like separated out. But for practicality, when it gets to production, it's just a lot easier if you just create it as a dollarless insertion order. You know, for all practicality, Just do it and name it accordingly. It makes it really easy. And then when you pull up your production run sheet, you could filter it out. You could see all your ads and all your editorial, and in the simplest sense, what's started, what's not started, what's done, what's not done. Right? It's all content. It's all creative. It's all elements in there. So, great questions.
What types of form letters do you have?
As far as you mean like emails
You
or
mentioned you have forms in there, form letters,
like
templates.
it's whatever you want to. There's always just a few letters, so you can it would be like opening Word for the first time instead of it just not so much anymore. Now when you open Word, it actually gives you templates there now. It's not like the old days where it was like, here's a blank sheet of paper, have at it. And so there's a few in there just so you can see and get a feel for how to format, but it's like working in Word. So the templates would really be they're going to be what you create in there, whether it's sales messages. A lot of folks, when you get into like sales funnel mentality, they might have like a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 email, and that's something you formally track in your pipeline. So when you go into a client record and you want to send an email, you click on it, template's there, and boom, you send it. So
I'm going to ask a really, I don't know, I'm embarrassed, but
No.
I got a new computer, and I used to use Magazine Manager on my laptop, and I could punch on somebody's email and send an email directly. Then I got a new computer, and it won't do it. So then I have to copy the email from Magazine Manager, go open up my Outlook, put it in, and then do it over there. So
that's a setting in your browser. Your browser's hasn't been told to use Outlook as the default email program.
Okay. Can it use Gmail as the default as well?
Yeah. Yep.
I started using Magazine Manager in 2010, and didn't know, and I could always get the salespeople's names. Can you go and delete them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can delete them. If they're attached to contracts, you're gonna have to unattach and reassign the contracts to people. Right. You can also hide them from showing up in lists as well, and things like that. So, yeah. See, these are great stuff. Write this stuff down. This is this is part of the intervention / re-honeymoon experience.
Honey, I never knew you could do that.
Things I've never heard. My, we're getting close to happy hour. So, a couple things that really I think get underutilized is people think of looking up CRM stuff and going by basic categories or a zip code or an industry segment or something. And the stuff that I think you really should be leveraging when you go in, because the information is, whoops, I'm going to go there yet, in here is, our search is so powerful. You've got so much tremendous information in your database. You really need to harness it. And the combination of not just demographic information about your prospects and clients in there, but your callbacks are all scheduled here, who you've been talking to recently or not, and of course pulling back in, since this is tied into your billing and your accounting, while you're trying to make a sales call, you might give pause if there's outstanding invoices in a client record as well. You can save your searches as well, so if you do a great search and pull up a list that was a home run, it can be dynamic. You had a set of parameters. You can just pull it up again and refresh it and send that out. You had the Christmas marketing email that was just a home run. We'll save it next year, run it again. It'll look for all the people that match it in your database and do it all over. We try to keep those things repetitive. Also on the search, this is really great stuff. Got to be doing this. Last contacted. So company inactivity, more than activity, I always am going in here and pulling up company inactivity since whenever. And I have conversations with my sales team as to why these people have not been talked to since April 1st when, XYZ has been going on and so forth. Or more importantly, you're busy. You all wear a lot of hats running your magazines. So it's just a great tool to go in there and make sure that, you know, you're not losing frequency with touching somebody, okay? Similarly, on the sales and production, to be able to pull and search information here, it says like expired, and you could pick a date range. So, you know, very commonly, you might go in today and pick a date range of, you know, maybe April 1st to today, and pull up a list of people, and it's going to be, hopefully, you'll be aware of all the people that are on that list, but there's a good chance there'll be one or two folks there that you're like, I didn't know they expired, you know. It was just one of the balls that fell that you were trying to juggle, and you lost track of it. I'm sure everyone's probably thinking of a story right now of an ad that just, they had no idea that they expired or they, you know, lost track of. They come back, but that was an issue that you lost. So we're really trying to prevent that from happening. How are we doing here? We'll move along. Very exciting report of a lot of data. Actually, this is great. This is the kind of stuff that would probably take someone without a system like this hours, if not a good day, to put together. So it's a sales by customer report. It just shows, it doesn't matter that you can't see and read it. I can just tell you what they are and you'll get it. It's like month by month here, and you can see that there's like numbers, and then there's like zeros in here. So these are people that are advertising, then they go to zero, then they come back, and then they go to zero. You're like, ah, that's crazy. What I see when I look at this report is like all these little bullseyes over here of people that we should be advertising. And to be able to identify this, and it doesn't, you can sort this too. What I like to do is take the November, say I'm trying to close out November. I would take October 1st and I would sort it so from high to low, I would get everybody here. And then from low to high. So the list is everybody that was advertising a lot that went to zero from October to November. And you know, there's a quick reminder just to make sure again that nobody's, you know, falling through the cracks, that you're at least not making the making the old college try with. Make sense? And of course, switching over from the sales side and the revenue side, the information automatically is in your tracking for production. An ad manager report, very simply, you know, ad arrived, ad done. You know, this might just be mean to you, ad started, ad finished. Keep it simple. You know, if you're not really getting involved in a lot of proofs and design changes and so forth. But nevertheless, instead of tracking this on a Google Doc or a spreadsheet, it's just right here. It's almost impossible to lose track. We do have some layout and pagination software, very popular, easy to lay out. If you're doing it manually, you can just do it here. What's nice is you get a list of ads that is truncated here. You can't see it, but the ads appear here in a list, and you literally physically drag them onto the map. If they're on the map, they're not in the list anymore. If the contract gets voided or deleted, the whole square turns red and says, I'm no longer a valid contract, you need to change me. So we're trying to bring that, you know, the contractual element to your layout. It's live, it's real time. If anybody needs to look at it, they can come in at a read-only, view-only mode and see it. Question? Yes?
In that previous slide, when you had the production list, how do those ads get into your platform? Like, what are the different methods that the ads would be in that list? Can I do a report, for example? And
Like the actual, like the graphic?
yeah, like those graphics right there on that screen. How did they get there? I have to upload every month ads to that
Right.
client or that issue, or how does that work?
That's exactly where I was going. It's the next step. If you choose to upload, you can upload the PDFs of the pages, and from here you can also create digital editions as well, if you would like to. $1 a page for digital edition. It's a really nice reader. It's like really high quality, and it actually tracks page views and stuff and feeds that information back into the run sheets, which is pretty cool too. But you know, probably about 20-25% of people are utilizing that feature, I'd say. But regardless, if you upload the PDF, that creates that thumbnail, which then becomes available in your run sheets, which is really nice, because when an advertiser calls and has a question about, you know, what I ran 3 issues ago, you know, it's like a a 20-second search to like find that ad, and you could show it to them, email it to them, because it's just it's like a megabyte size graphic of the page you could send them. Yes?
I sell a lot of air packages, so let's say I do a free community resource guide. Is there any way to like simultaneously enter, instead of having to go, like you have to enter like the quarter page for 12 months, and I have to go back in and enter the COG for free, right? Is there a way to do that in one shot?
Possibly. It depends if they're on the same issue frequency or not. And that's where also I get back to if you have like a kind of a standard like combinations of stuff. This is like a nice little tip for those of you using it. A lot of people have they'll have a client record that's set up that is really just a dummy record that has like your best proposals all sitting there. The contracts are all, because you can just go grab one and then literally start typing in the name of the next customer, and so it'll take you like 10 seconds.
Is that something new? Is that something that's always had?
Well, it's been out for a year and a half, 2 years, I think, but
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Where do you actually upload the ad in Magazine Manager? If it's so large, doesn't that eat up space? I mean, we would have, 10 years of uploading ads. That would use up a lot of
I
space.
think at one point they said don't do, I think Larry had said don't do that because it's.
Yeah, not in the job jacket in the main database. When you're we call this part Digital Studio. This is where you would take the same high resolution file that you send to the printer, you would upload here as well, and it goes through a compression element and so forth, and creates the digital image of the page. But what a lot of people, in a very simple mode, you can put attachments in the job jacket, of the insertion order. I think the file size limit's like 4 megabytes, so just reduce it before you upload. And you could just do just the ad. You don't have to upload the whole page there either.
Per ad, 4 megabytes, but you could keep doing, like thousands of ads.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that upload like individual artwork into job jackets, because it's not like you can access it like in some kind of like organized fashion. You have to go into a job jacket to get it.
We do get people that say run the same ad we ran, 2 years and 2 months ago. So I was just wondering if there's a way to, in their file, take a smaller image picture of it, put it somewhere.
You could, we could talk. We could talk afterwards a little bit about how some people might do it. But at that level, most people have things in like a folder hierarchy already, like on a server, either locally or an FTP site or something.
You're right.
And it kind of gets into like, why are we doing that all over again? And it's a lot of duplication of effort. It's already living somewhere else. So, good point, though. It's good. Everybody's thinking about this correctly. All your questions are great. So let's see. I'll kind of wrap up through here. I can move along. We're here. Billing. Billing made simple. The exciting part. We've all been waiting for. Very simply, and Mary Kay's going to show us this. You go in, you pick a date range of what you want to invoice. It can be wide open to everything that's available to be invoiced. What's great in the system is once you invoice things, they're locked down. So you can't inadvertently, change the size of an ad if it's already been invoiced, because it's been invoiced. That's what the system's intent is, there to keep it, locked down and keep the integrity together. So very simply, pick a date range. This might be what is available to invoice. Select all, hit it. You can email the invoices. Maybe you don't even want to email them. Maybe you just want to process the payments against them. We've got an interface with credit card, merchant account processing that you can take batch processing, and it's all done. It all pushes all the transactional detail over to QuickBooks, and you're back on the phone selling advertising, or producing content, something fun.
So you're saying that you do the billing through you, not through QuickBooks?
Correct. All of the transactions would occur in here, but it gets mirrored into QuickBooks. That's what the API does. It literally, and it keeps all the contact records in sync, addresses, phone numbers, and so forth too.
So what's the fee for that?
Nothing.
So you don't pay QuickBooks anymore, it'll be a bundle for you?
You still need QuickBooks. There's your general ledger. You still got payables, your balance sheet. You need that for the tax man and everything. This is just receivables. Think of this as a accounts receivable sub-ledger. Okay, so it's managing that piece of it now. It just gets tied through. So now all that information is live in your CRM, so you have access, to it there. You're going to see this live in a second how it works. You go in, you pull up some invoices, you create the invoices. You can email them if you want. The folks that are magazine manager customers right now, this is how it works. This is how we do it. We process all the invoices right in the first of the month. You get an invoice in your email. That could be your advertisers. And we always say we're going to run the credit cards in like 3 days, right? And you could say the same thing to your clients and go, we're going to process this in 3 days. And do that. Each of these operations takes about, 2 minutes. And then you do that. And then probably send them out another invoice or a statement that just shows that it's zeroed out and paid. We just do that because it doesn't really take any time to do it. So, and that's it. And the credit cards, process all the transactions. All that transaction detail then gets mirrored in your QuickBooks company file. So your receivables is identical. It's all the same.
But the credit card is run in.
Right. That would be a difference. And we were talking about that earlier, and that's something that there would have to be a change in the credit card processor. But the good news on that is that the partner that we use is they're adamant that it's a quarter to a half point cheaper to go with them. They're a big company out of North Dakota. All those credit card companies are out of North Dakota, South Dakota for some reason. Saying it's like yachts being registered in Delaware. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's one of those things. And I mean, they're so confident that what they like to do is, if you're skeptical, is take a couple months statements and they'll analyze and say, here's where we could save you money on the rate. So we'll look into that further. And they say if we can't do it, we'll give you a $100 gift card just for taking the time to look. That's how confident they are in doing that. But more importantly, it's the process and the time of not having to transfer information, physically. Even though it's still an export file, it still takes time. You have to rely on a person to be doing that, or worse, a third party or an accountant to be doing that for you.
I mean, the biggest thing that I like about QuickBooks is I set it all up for automatic billing. So if I'm sitting here, 10,000 goes into our account and I didn't do anything, I have to match it all up and process it, but I don't have to be there to make that happen in QuickBooks. Does that do that?
Yeah, automatic.
Yeah, all you have to do is you have to press the button to make it go. That would be it. But you must have to enter all your information in there to bill it though. Make sure it's right.
Once for all 12 months, you just enter it once, and then
it says bill it.
For the next 12 months, it bills it automatically.
Get that credit card every month on the 15th for the next 12 months, and then it does it. And then I have to match up the files. But the big thing is, if I'm busy out selling or something, I don't have to sit there and say I don't have to do the billing.
No, you'd have to take the 30 seconds to actually click the button to process it.
Each person, as opposed to all of them at once.
No, like one for your, doesn't matter if it's 50 or 5,000 invoices. You just, boom. So it might be a little more clear when Mary Kate runs through an example and you physically see it as opposed to me talking about it. So, and then of course that information is now live back in the contact record. So back to the, coming full circle back to the CRM, you're like, okay, as I'm making a call or proposing to sell more business, you've got a reminder there that there could be, an open, outstanding receivable. So that's one of the huge advantages of doing your billing in here, is that you're bringing that information to the forefront, so that your collection effort is right there, hand in hand, tandem with your sales effort as well. And you can even put credit limits in there and things like that by default. If you've ever got yourself caught into selling more business accidentally to someone you didn't mean to, because they owed you a lot of money and you kind of meant to take care of that, but you didn't, and then you just kind of piled it on. You could even set up set limits in there for that. So you can set up inventory for your ads, so you don't mistakenly oversell something. If you have limited inventory, a lot of that's more like digital or newsletter type of things as well. So let's take a quick live look with Mary Kate here, and we'll go in and
Someone will be screaming. All right, this is our, can you hear me?
Put it up to your mouth.
It's going to be hard for me to type and do this at the same time. We'll see. I'm a little challenged. Thank you. Okay, this is my magazine manager site, and I'm just going to go through a quick demo of how easy it is to invoice, send your information in through to QuickBooks. First thing I've done is I just want to show you, I have a new customer that I put in this morning. It's a contact record in the site, and this customer, put some orders on this customer. You can tell this guy has a green head in his icon. He's got orders now. He's brand new, but they are right down here. I haven't billed them yet, so we're going to just talk about billing. He's got 3 orders in the system. So I'm just going to go into my accounts receivable, and I'm going to create new invoices. It's going to ask me a couple of questions. I'm going to pick a template right here, and I'm going to select that. I'm going to select everything in the month of May. I'm going to look for, first of all, I'm going to show you how quickly you can pull up and bill everything. If I click if I click search, you can see I have like 57 unbilled invoices for the month of May. Now what I'm going to do right now, rather than billing an entire 57 and tracing those through, is I'm going to focus on one product. And I'm going to bill my product for photography tips for the month of May. Here are my unbilled orders. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to scroll down. My invoice date, my due date, I'm going to bill them. Okay, I've done all my invoicing for my list of products. So you could bill everything in the issue that quickly. From that point, I could come in and go into my invoice search. And I'm going to pull up my invoices that I just that were created today. That's all I want to look at. So I'm going to search. Here's my list. Some of these I just created today. Some of these were created earlier today with today's date. I can see my invoices. I can see the amount due. And I'm just pulling up the open. I can go in here, and this is how you would actually send them. You could email your invoices from here with one click. Select all, and boom, they're out. Or you can print them to PDF if you need to. So these are my invoices in the system. And if I go back through and do this one more time, and I look at all the invoices, you'll see that some of these actually have payments on them as well. You can see the ones with the 0 amount. So I've got all these invoices in my QuickBooks, in my Magazine Manager. I want to send all these transactions through to QuickBooks. At this point, if you were processing your credit cards, there is a batch report, and I don't know that I have that one connected on here, but I'm going to show you one that's very similar so you get the idea. I'm going to go into a report that's an aging report that is showing you the prepays or the payments that can be applied to invoices. And you see you get an aging, you get highlighted in this report anybody who has payments that can be applied. Same sort of setup. You would see all of your open invoices, and you would see anybody who has a credit card on file. You can go down to the bottom, you can select them all, and you can click to process the credit card payment. And it will process them that quickly. And then it will give you an audit report of what's processed, along with any unsuccessful transactions that you have to follow up if you've got somebody with an expired card or fraud that you can't process. So that's how you would process those payments with your credit cards if you are connected up. Now you've got all these transactions. Some of these are already paid, and we're talking about how does the data go through the QuickBooks. We've already got the QuickBooks implemented with this site. We've linked it. There's a mapping process we go through, and we map your accounts, chart of accounts in QuickBooks to your account information in Magazine Manager, and we map your customers so that when we send these invoices through, the invoices have a place to go and they're coded to the correct account when they get into QuickBooks. And each one goes in individually.
Now I'm on my Send Data to QuickBooks page, and the first thing I'm going to do is look at this. Here is my CMM marketing. That's my new customer who I set up today, and he has an invoice. He has an order. He hasn't been sent to QuickBooks yet because he's brand new, so he's going to pop up on a list. I know I need to send him through. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to select both of these advertisers, and I'm going to send the records to QuickBooks. And then I'm going to click this button to process the request. I've got a pop-up blocker. I'm going to have to allow the pop-ups.
Sorry about that.
Every time I switch computers, I run into that.
I'm a pop-up blocker.
Okay, and now you see these customers that I sent are going through to QuickBooks now. So they've been sent, they're gone from this page, and if I click into QuickBooks and I go into my customer list, let's look for that customer CMM. Where are we? Let's make sure. There he is. There's my customer that I just set up in QuickBooks because I pushed them from Magazine Manager. And you see it's got my, my address. My billing address would be further down here where I've got it in the system. And my billing contact and my name comes through. So that's how quickly I sent that new customer through to QuickBooks. Now let's go back and look in Magazine Manager. And let's go back to this same page, and this time I'm going to send my invoices through. Let's see what I have. I have this many invoices, 15 records that haven't been sent to QuickBooks yet. And they're all the invoices that were created today. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to send them to QuickBooks. It's going to push them out, and then it's going to ask me to process the request again. And you see they're going through. It's counting down all 15 of these.
So all these 15 invoices were created, and have they paid their invoice? Or has the payment been processed?
I didn't process the payments right now, but I could have. I could have pulled up my batch report and processed all my credit cards.
In Magazine Manager.
In Magazine Manager. And then I'm pushing the invoices through, and now what about the payments? The next thing I'm going to do is go in here and I'm going to pull up the payments. Here are a few payments that I have already processed in Magazine Manager. I've just recorded them. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to select my payments. And I'm going to send these to QuickBooks. So basically I've posted the invoices into QuickBooks. And now I'm posting the payments to those invoices. And it's going to count them down again. And now the payments are in there. That's the process.
Everything's done in Magazine Manager. copied
Everything
over
is
to
done in
QuickBooks.
Magazine Manager. You add your new customers in Magazine Manager. You're not going to continue to add customers in QuickBooks.
And you just send it to QuickBooks.
You're gonna
so
push
the
it through.
Accounting software has it.
Push it through, yeah.
Does it generate error reports?
It does. I didn't make any errors this time.
But is it a pop-up error report? How does that come? You don't have to go searching for the errors.
The error report would be in your inbox. Well, let's see if I did create
There's one
any
from earlier.
errors. Refresh the inbox. Yeah,
So what I
here
mean is
is
though,
one-
if you're
here
doing 25 invoices or reoccurring billing and something goes wrong, do you have to go back to the report, or do you get an automatic pop-up that something went wrong on that?
you will see processed with errors or processed without errors, and you'll also get your messages come in here. Here is one error message, which leads me to believe that I tried to send an invoice to QuickBooks that was not mapped, that the accounts weren't mapped. That's what this error message is telling me. So I think I have one in there that didn't go through because I didn't have all my accounts mapped. I mean, as you go through, if you add a new rate card or you add new items in there, you'll want to go through and make sure that everything is properly mapped, because if it's not mapped, it can't go. It won't go through. And there's a logic to it too. You want to always check for customers first, then you want to pick up your invoices, because once the invoices are in there, then the payments that you've posted to those invoices are going to pop up to be sent. And automatically, when you add your first order for a customer, they're going to appear on the Send Customers to QuickBooks list. So you're not pushing your prospects in there, you're pushing your customers with orders.
No, I realize that. I was thinking more or less a credit card goes bad, or it's the wrong number, it doesn't get processed.
If a credit card goes bad,
That's the
you will
pop-up.
get, if you're doing this in batch, you'll have a batch report that pops up at the end.
But, so it shows up automatically rather than me having to
Yeah.
go to a search room? Okay.
Yeah, and you'll always want to print that out. I mean, I used this whole process, QuickBooks and credit card integration and batch processing, when I was with my magazine, the publisher. It changed my life. You know, it was just incredible how quick of a time frame I was able to do all this in. And I'd always print my batch credit card processing. Even if there are no errors, I throw it in my billing folder. I keep everything, you know how accountants are, you know.
That's exactly what was going through my head when you said that.
Yeah.
The part that people sometimes, you know, it's not like somebody sends you a bill or sends you a itemized list at the end of the month of how much time everybody spent making sure that everything was correct by the time you typed it into QuickBooks from all the various sources. And that's the part that's just, it's gone. I mean, it goes away.
So this is using a different merchant services than Intuit.
For the credit card processing, it would. So that would be a piece of change for sure for folks.
Okay, so it actually means that so I just recently switched from a PC to a Mac. And I've been challenged by that recurring billing, and that's really been the only reason that I've held on to my PC, because I can't go to QuickBooks Online because of the recurring billing. So this actually makes it possible for us to just use a Mac.
Your QuickBooks is on your Mac? Oh, no, online,
Well,
yes.
QuickBooks doesn't support.
Right, but if you have QuickBooks Online, you can do it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
That is great.
Yeah, this, I'm working on a Mac, this is QuickBooks Online. So,
And historically, the whole QuickBooks integration piece was, you know, it was kind of like a user license fee. It was $50 a month, but we're just going to include it. We just part of the long-standing partnership that we've had. Just want to, you know, continue, you know, the extension of that goodwill. You know, for us, it's a matter of support. That's what kind of, it's like, you can't roll out features and stuff because it requires ongoing support and setup. But we're confident that, you know, it's a group that works together, and the process itself is like, I mean, it's been in place now for probably 7 years. So it's we've seen the you know, the interaction and support and tickets on it has just gone to zero.
I just pulled up my transaction report in QuickBooks, and you can see I ran it for May the 5th. And there it is. These are the same invoices. That top one, CMM Marketing, is the invoice for the new customer that I billed. So these were the ones that I just pushed through. And this makes it easy to tie out too, because, you know, you do want to make sure that you're tying out and that you are sending through, and, you know, you've got everything in there. And it's very easy to run a list of the transactions and compare it, and you tie everything out.
Does the integration work with a desktop
Yes.
system?
Yes.
Yeah, PC, not the Mac. So if there's one or two. I mean, are they still supporting QuickBooks for Mac? I don't know if they.
Yeah, that was one of the problems I had using.
They have so many problems with QuickBooks for Mac. Like it's once in a blue moon I can find anybody that's still using it.
I still use it.
There you go. There's always one.
Andy.
So this won't work for me.
You need to do online.
You need to go to QuickBooks Online.
If you're a Mac desktop, no, you need to convert.
Can you do this part, your part on the Mac? Actually, I don't know. Never mind. Well, no. Yeah, I got rid of the virtual machine, so now I have a Windows laptop, but I do every other piece of work on a Mac.
Well, it's not. I hear a lot of people have, you know, they're all Mac except for their QuickBooks is installing a PC over in the corner.
Yeah.
It's not too uncommon.
If I wanted my bookkeeper to do this part of this in Magazine Manager, is the additional user fee still like $65?
Yeah. Technically, they, buy them, it's like having cable in your house. It's like, you can only police it so far. It's not like they couldn't log in with, your own ID if they're just logging in once or twice.
Yes.
You didn't hear that from me, though.
But if you find out, then they kick us out.
Well, no, there's protections in the system. I mean, security-wise, that if you log in and someone else is logged in, someone else will kick you out because it's kind of a security thing. It's however how it works. But it's hey, I've got one internet go account for flying around, and we all share it.
But I have clients who will have, their accountant will be running the Web Connect or working with the Web Connect, and they're putting everything in Magazine Manager and pushing it out, but then their
You mean like a
accountant's
log me in, they'll just log into my PC and log in?
I'm not sure. Their accountant has their QuickBooks in this case that I'm thinking about. It's not even at their office, but
We're confident that if you'll make the decision just like a salesperson or any other employee. An additional $40 makes sense or not. Right? You can figure that out on your own.
Mary Kay, can I go back down to the question that Dana had about recurring transactions? So on the merchant services side of QuickBooks, you can set up a billing date from a start date to an end date and a certain day during the month of every one of those months. And on that date, QuickBooks automatically charges the card. Can you access the merchant services module in this case, in the service that you're using?
this one would require you to pull up your batch report when you bill and process at that time. You can't preset it to charge it over the next 12 months.
So no recurring.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never really hear that, especially in the publishing world, just because being publishers ourselves, like most of the time everybody wants to at least have one eyeball of the list going out before they click the button. And it's not like, so you know, because there's so many changes. It seems like so many changes that go on, but yeah, it's not going to auto bill people. You're going to have to click that button just to bill. But you can bring up a good point as to when you enter a contract. It could be like a recurring, the same charge. So it obviously gets entered in the system that way. But you can also take a charge if it's like, say, like a show expo sponsorship. It was a big ticket. You have like a headline sponsor, and they want to break up the payments over X number of months. You can certainly just very easily just divide it evenly over the number of payments period that you want, or you can micromanage it and go in and front load it, back load it, whatever you want to do, so that those installments show up in your normal monthly billing.
Andy, can you repeat something I missed a little while ago about the fee for, is there an additional fee for this combination of merchant services?
For merchant services, if you can go with like your own merchant services. I don't know if QuickBooks, like their processor.
Or I should say API.
Yeah, the QuickBooks Web Connect there is no fee anymore, not for Natural Awakenings clients. The only group that we're grandfathering and offering that to out of everybody.
Typically be an extra $50 a month for that module being offered to our group for free.
Correct.
Is my understanding, correct?
Correct.
So this is huge. And when Jerry tested it, he said it's worth the $50. In fact, that Magazine Manager is offering it to us as part of the program for our 10-year relationship.
I think a lot of people come on board with us just for the billing efficiency, to be honest. It's they just see, Mary Kate was an example in living, breathing color there back in the day, and the efficiency of having everything under, QuickBooks is an accounting system. It's a general ledger. It's a great, affordable. It's the best one out there, it's not a great like business management back office, you know, solution, especially for publishers. In some manufacturing elements in retail, it does a little better job because there's more of a market there, so they've catered their product there. But it's certainly not a back office system, and far from any kind of CRM capability. So that's really what this is about. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is if I had QuickBooks, for my purposes, this doesn't work.
Online, QuickBooks Online.
If I do, but I do not.
No, that's the same problem I have.
This does not work for me. But if I got QuickBooks Online, but not your merchant services, I can just press a button, everything will go to QuickBooks, but I still have to go in and bill myself. Yes?
You're right. You wouldn't. Yeah. If you don't sign up with the merchant account, you wouldn't be able to take. That's like the crowning jewel of all this is to just batch process it.
So how competitive are you with Intuit then? Are you?
Yeah, that's the part we're going to prove out. I'm going to. They're telling us that they're a half a point to a quarter, on average, a quarter point to a half point. They tell us realistically a lot of times it's more, but that's what we're going to prove out, and we'll show you. So one of the next steps, I'll be following up with Pat and Anna and probably Jerry too. It's just to look at, very simply, we'll take a sampling of some of the credit card statements. So instead of taking our word for it, we'll physically have them say, here's how much it would be. So that to me, this is like it could be the icing on the cake of it all, is that we keep cheaper credit card processing on the top of all this.
If I choose to get QuickBooks Online and switch to your merchant services, can you gather all that credit card data from Intuit or from my it's all in there. I don't know how to access all that.
Yeah, we'll take a look, afterwards. We'll talk and I'll follow up specifically. We've got a couple people that deal tightly with the, helping people set up the merchant accounts and getting the value. We actually put you directly in touch with, the merchant account folks that we.
Is there any publisher right now that is using the merchant service from within Magazine Manager?
I'll have to look. I'm not sure if anybody is in the National Awakenings group. I looked. I didn't see anything on the surface, but kind of have to dig around a little bit more and take a look.
Can you update other than billing? If I'm updating Magazine Manager, they change their business name, they've got a new phone number, address. Will that sync into QuickBooks too?
It will
or
go
is it
through.
only
You change if the address changes, if the name changes, you edit that information. When you run and process next time, those changes will
So
go
when you process the invoices?
Anytime you process anything, those changes will go through. You don't have to select them and send them through. They're going to automatically be loaded in the queue, and when you run your next process, it'll pick that up.
But does that go as a new account? Because
No.
I know that I've done things in Magazine Manager, and if they change the name of the company, a new account gets created, and now you start fresh, that all their old stuff is over there.
It depends on how you do it in Magazine Manager. If you keep it as the same account and you simply edit the name and it's linked in QuickBooks, when you run your next process, it's going to edit the name in QuickBooks to match. If you keep that in Magazine Manager, and you want to start a completely new company, new management, new everything, you don't want the histories mixed, so you start a new company, then the new company would be treated separately.
Right. It's not really the name that's getting matched. There's an ID associated with it.
Is there a
So-
link to them? Can you link them?
They are linked between the two processes.
No, I mean the old company and the new company.
You can relate them in Magazine Manager, but they're going to be two separate accounts in Magazine Manager and two separate accounts in QuickBooks.
I think I failed in my time management here. We got.
Well, so this is great, and I know there's more questions, but we've got to close this room, so at 7 o'clock, it is a dance